is much more than just giving exams. Actually, in our classes in Dunya, we don't use closed book exam. We use what we call open book exam. How many of you have gone through open book exam? Okay. So there's okay, but as a student, you should demand, frankly, even in the university, to open this, because today you don't need to memorize things, isn't it? What we need today is to have the skills to utilize things, and this is what is difference. We need to change our way of teaching in a way, and our way of learning is that we don't need to memorize things. What we need is that how we utilize things, and this is what is why we do, by the way, open book exam. The open book exam, by the way, style, it is open not only your computers. You can do anything. You can even move outside the class, inside the class, and so on. Just to follow, by the way, the requirements. Otherwise, I would have given my students to be at home to do their exam. Okay? Because the most important thing of lifelong learning is the word trust. Okay, and if we don't build this trust within our students and within ourselves, then we're not going to be a strong lifelong learners. And for that, we say inspiration is like a bubble. You inspire someone, but unless you take him or take her to lifelong learning practices, he cannot change anything in his or her socio-economy. And at the end of the day, he will not be a lifelong learner. So it is like a bubble. You start it up, but unless it is maintained, the maintenance of inspiration is through the practices of lifelong learning. And this is where we're going to give examples on that later, inshallah. And this is what it creates, what I told you, currency of inspiration, which is more important than the dollar, more important than your KM. For sure, it's more important than even the petrodollar, as I said, because this is the currency where many societies has changed. Lots of Bosnians, I hear they want to migrate to, unfortunately, to Canada or to Sweden or to the countries like like Austria and so on. Why they are migrating? Because they think there is better quality of life there. And the reality is not about quality of life. There is about they are utilizing the currency of inspiration. Austria was worse than Bosnia about 30 years ago, but they knew how to utilize the human capital, and they managed to bring best practice in different things in their universities and their own companies, including companies like Red Bull came from Austria because of inspiration techniques more than anything else. And for that, we need to see that this lifelong learning can play a very important role in our individual life, in our society life, and in our organization life. Even at the University of Buheji, if they don't use lifelong learning skills, they will not only will not get enough grants from the European Union, which is a requirement for the European Union, that the university show that they are doing lifelong learning programs, which is extracurricular. It is outside the class. Lifelong learning does not depend on the class. It depends on outside the class, what you can do outside the class, but still you can get grades on that. So that you train. The way of grading is supposed not to tell you that, okay, to get A, you have to get A only. No. It's about to encourage you to see that this is the style that you can learn from it, much more better than even just reading a textbook or studying for your exam and so on. So it is about changing from autocratic rule to about human-based economy. Lifelong learning is about human-based economy that can be created by us at the end of the day. For that, in the founders of this institute, most of us is multidisciplinary. We have people from law, we have people from medical colleges, we have people from engineering. I come from management economic college. Dr. Dunya comes from sociology college and so on. So we are coming from different colleges. Same here, by the way, our friends from biotechnology, for example, they are founders of this institute. And the purpose is that, as I said, to find the intrinsic powers and how we can use the human intrinsic powers to affect the socio-economic status, solving problems like drugs, like gambling, like poverty, and so on, through different techniques, and ensuring that lifelong learning practices are embedded inside our schools and our academic institutions. And by the way, the cycle of the logo of the institute is based on lifelong learning. The first cycle, it is about, first of all, is challenges and maybe failures. But the second is about lifelong learning. So the more you are, today you cannot go, when you are developing, you cannot go this way only. You need to go, always you need to go learning and lessons and failures, and then you come up again and you learn again, and you learn again, and so on. So lifelong learning is about this cycle, it's about spiral cycle. And for that, we are changing today again our way of teaching from depending on industrial, teaching only industrial techniques, which is meaning memorizing, making our students memorizing, not even giving our students knowledge, which is beyond information, beyond data. Knowledge is meaning more practical things, meaning analysis of the data, right? Analysis of the information. We are today in lifelong learning, we are talking about profound knowledge. So for you as a teacher, inshallah, in the future, you are supposed not to give your students enthusiasm. Because if you teach them, for example, you tell them 1 + 1 = 2, you are just making their logical thinking more. But you are killing their creative thinking, because you are holding them within a certain constraints. While if you want to create a profound knowledge person, which is a person who looks always for facts, and he searches like Sherlock Holmes, he always looks for facts, and always he questions with curiosity, and this is very important, the word curiosity. It means that you are supposed to bring them to what we call inspiration and youth spirit area. Whereas like youth are always curious about things. They are always looking for things to discover, and this is the way that we should build our graduates, whether they are in elementary or intermediate or even in high school. They are supposed to be, or even university. So we say that in order to move the spirit and the heart and the mindset, we need to first challenge the attitude and behavior of our students. And this means that students, how we can change the behavior of anyone? Anyone? How can you change my behavior? I like to eat ice cream, for example. Okay? How can you change my attitude? You know what's the difference between attitude and behavior, right? Because you are teaching. What's the difference between attitude and behavior? Anyone? You have to know that. What's the difference between attitude and behavior? Anyone? Attitude, it means that you are thinking about something, but you are not reflecting it yet. Behavior, or reflecting it towards others. And all the word learning is about what? When you say someone, teaching is different, learning is something else. If I say I learn something, it means supposed to be what? My attitude and behavior has changed. And this is, by the way, that lots of us don't misunderstand the point of learning. Learning does not mean understanding. Learning does not mean memorizing. Learning does not mean knowing. Learning does not mean awareness. Okay? Learning means that your attitude and behavior has changed. If you say, I have learned about the effect of smoking, it means your attitude and behavior has started to change about smoking and its dangers. Okay? So this is why we're saying it is very important for lifelong learning is that we tackle the attitude and behavior of people. And as I said in my first question, the people does not change with only lecturing, with only attending class. If you want to change the attitude, isn't it our business, Buheji? If you change people attitude and behavior, isn't it? If you want to change people attitude and behavior, you have to put them in practice. Reality said, only learning through doing, learning through experiencing, is the only learning that can sustain for a long time. Any learning that today I will memorize, I will learn for maybe many hours and so on, with time it will fade out. Because I will learn other things, in the future it will fade out. Except when I do things, right? And for that the Chinese, we know all of us the Chinese proverb, right? Don't give me the fish, show me how to fish, right? So this is an example of that it is attitude and behavior to it. And through learning, lifelong learning, because we are learning always and going through challenges and accepting challenges and failures, the lifelong learner is a person that he accepts challenges and failures, even for you as a teacher. You should always look for what is your challenges during the classes, especially when you are in the first few years, and then what are your failures and what you failed in. Because the more you are open-minded for these things, the more you can find the blind spots. And the more you find the blind spots, you're going to change your, what we call it, our paradigm, which is built on assumptions. Okay? And built on complacency. Means that I want to be relaxed on the area where I know. I don't want to go to the area that I don't know. While lifelong learners, always they shift to the area which is very challenging, that they don't know, which we call it the uncomfort zone. And this is very important when we are teaching, because this is part of the inspiration journey. So So inspiration that we are talking about, I mean, this is our role. Why we say it is very important for us, lifelong learning, if we want to creating an inspiration economy, because people, as I said, they will accept inspiration momentarily sometimes, but they will not go to a development stage, or they cannot sustain inspiration. If we want to create people that are inspired and they stay in Bosnia, for example, and create jobs and become job creators, not job seekers, and they don't have a blame culture. Today, one of the challenges that you are in Europe, but still one of the challenges in Bosnian culture is that we are hearing a lot of blame culture. Oh, it's about the government is not giving us job, socio-economy is not stable, political situation is not stable. So for that, what people they do? Either they get depressed, or they look for jobs, any jobs, or they migrate. Okay? While we don't see enough people that are creating a change, or become job creators. Okay? And this is what you need in any socio-economy. Any socio-economy, unless you are maintaining your, sustaining your inspiration, you cannot have a culture that is having suggestion, awakening, or even they are having a feeling that create a reflection, which means learning from doing and reflecting into the society in the future. Okay, دكتورة أتوقع الحين كان كمان.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. I just want to ask some of you before I start. In which year are you in the university?
Third.
First year, something fine here. Do you think that you are really lifelong learners, so you remember all what you carried out and still you are keeping learning by yourself, or you depend a lot on the university system or school system or whatever is given to you?
I usually use university only as a guide, but mostly I find stuff on YouTube and that's how I learn. Because I don't think, usually we just get like short sentences and stuff like that, and it's really hard for me to remember those, so I usually just go and search for all of them, and that's how and when I don't really want to learn something, when I feel tired or something, then I would just go and watch a documentary and then get interested through documentary, and then I would go back to. So that's how I just make myself interested into the topic.
Which is really very great, and that's what we say, learning by hearing and by seeing. So it's not only what you are given by the university, but you go and search and learn and see for it.
I think the true inspiration comes really within you, and everything you see by yourself is just reflection of who you are. So if you just search for knowledge outside yourself, you will not get much, you will just get the short term of it. So based on the mind, and the whole mindset starts with you have medical sources and your inner sources. So I think that real inspiration comes really within you, and you just have to take other knowledge besides you so you can manage.
Okay, so you mean you reflect everything to each other. It comes from your insider, what you get from the university, you reflect it to the real life, and then you see the reflections of it. Right?
Yes, so you basically can learn from anyone or anything.
From anyone and anything, yes, and that's right. Anything else to add? And if you work part-timers, anywhere, volunteer work? Okay, you do?
Yeah, I work as a skipper as a seasonal job.
Okay.
So what was the question?
And do you think, yeah, this was the question, that's right. That's what the question, exactly. But, and do you think whatever is your job, whether it's related to what you are studying or no, did it reflect in any way what, in teaching you more skills?
Well, we actually require a lot of English where we work, because a lot of tourists come, well, it's mostly tourists when they come to rafting or such, but I think I've already had enough of English language so far.
So you practice that and
yeah,
it comes to your...
I just want to perfect it more, like going to college.
Okay, that's great. And where do you work or volunteer or
I
something?
work as an online teacher for English, and I was assistant in Naval State School in Australia. So those two things really comes together. Because even though I learned them, I have to learn something new.
Yes.
Because I only have students who are not that good at English, and they want to know some things that I might not even.
Know about it, so you go and
Yeah.
serve, so.
And in the show, it was different because basically before every lecture I had to learn new things. Before I even wanted to lecture to somebody else. So
Okay.
it was mutual learning in any way.
Yes, so that's great. So here, that's what your colleagues are saying, that teaching is not anymore only in the classroom. I mean, we are here, lecturers are here to facilitate some info, to bring it to you, but the real life is there where you are going to learn. And don't think that whatever is just related to your topic is going to teach you. I mean, even working with tourists was something different, but it taught you lots of skills, not only the languages. Maybe you're not going to appreciate it now. Even how to be a leader, how you communicate with others. These are even manners that's going to help you when you are going to be a teacher. Working in volunteers work. I mean, today you have the whole media that's out open for you to learn. So what you are seeing, the inspiration, as we're saying, inside of you that will let you learn from each thing. Today, wherever we walk and we observe things, even when I walk here and I see a gardening, doing this farms here, I can learn lots of skills from him that I can reflect very well in my work. So lifelong learning is something that you want to say, it's never ended, never stop. So no matter you ask me when did I graduate from my university, when until the day, the last minute, inshallah, and we are going to die, we are going to learn and teach and learn, and always the process of learning is there. The idea is how to keep ourselves to be a person who are able to learn. Some people, they just minimize their minds. They say that whatever I'm going to take in this college, in this university, in this book, I'm going to take it perfectly. And they're going to be an A students because they're going to go, memorize it, bring it, put it in the book, make it the theory, and just work as it is. But these people are not lifelong learning because they didn't go beyond this book. They didn't link this theory to practice a lot of more. So it's not only about to know it, to read it, to memorize it. It's not only how to see it, it's even how to apply it. And it's not only apply it the way they are, but because you are lifelong learning, you are going to add to what you learn, to what you teach. Here you are going to be unique. Here what makes X students is different than Y students. I mean, tomorrow when you are going to the field of work, what will make you unique? If you have something different to apply for the market. I mean, now it's more open markets, more people are there, more graduates are there. So being a university graduate, being an A student, it's not anymore, it's what the market wants. It's how unique is this person's going to add. It's not only about your specialty. No matter what you study, it's different than what you're going to work, it's about your uniqueness. So you need to inspire yourself first in the idea that you by yourself need to be a lifelong learner. You will be always able to learn from whatever you see, and you want to be a learner. You just don't want to copy what is in the box as they are. So here where you need to work in your mindset first, as you said, and you worked in it from there. So, and this what you are saying, that you go for your ideas, behavior learning, and you have your decisions that you want to make it. That do I only want to copy what is in the box, or no, I want to learn there, I want to apply it, and I will add my own theory. Each person can be, each person of us can have his own theory, his own way of doing things, and that's the real uniqueness. So although you see it in YouTube and you read it in a different book, the way you are going to merge these two is going to be different than the way I'm going to do it. And here your uniqueness will come, and you will be a learner of bringing also new models of it. And here where you are going to leave a legacy for your society. I mean, if you copied whatever your teacher taught you and you brought it in the society, you've just done what they've done. But you don't want to live this life only by saying that someone has copied the other's works and became an A student. You want to leave a legacy behind you. The legacy is about when you will bring something new to this world. And this is not going to happen by coincidence. It's when you add something to the society, and here when you mix all the different experience that you have in your day. No matter if we both of us read the same books, we went to the same universities, but my life experience is going to be different than yours. You're going to teach different students, and on each time of this different mechanism you are going through, you can bring your own and a new legacy that you add, and if you use it to it. So, and here we are talking about empathetic thinking. You need to know what the society also wants and needs before you want it. When you are a lifelong learner, you are always ahead of others. So it's not about when they tell us in some universities are trying to make the colleges according to what markets need. You can do this because market needs, for example, is different. But for you, as if you are good at lifelong learning, no matter what you've studied, when you go to market, you can adapt yourself and you see what are the market needs are at the same moment, and you can adapt yourself. So you will be always able to know what are the needs there, and you change yourself accordingly and teach yourself. You can't go every time back to the university again to change what you've studied, because, oh, today the market is more fan of IT, let me go back and study IT. No, I need to go back, it's this language or it's the other. You need to know the techniques. Once you know it, you can work in any other disciplines, because you are the person who are going to forecast the needs and what you are going to work on. Okay, and here's some pictures of people who left legacy. They didn't left it. We all remember these names. I don't know if all of you know Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. Do you know him or no? Okay, Ibn Khaldun?
Yes.
Okay, who is Ibn Khaldun? Yes, he's one of the first sociologists, philosopher of the entire world, not only for the Muslim and Arab nations. So you can see, for example, Gandhi, Mandela, Bill Gates. These are all people who left legacy. The way that made these people left legacy, rather than the others who were in their generations and never even know who they are, it's not they were never A students, but they were lifelong learners. They used to learn day by day and to build their own theories. It's about how they mix things together. Ibn Khaldun, he wasn't only a sociologist, he read about everything. Gandhi, you can't talk about Gandhi and you say he's only politicians, but even if you go for the way he dealt with his family, the way he dealt with different ethnicities, the way he dealt with his religion, no matter different things he goes with, if you mix these things, that's to bring the new model of Gandhi that he could bring his country to where he was and build his theory. So the uniqueness of each person is how can I mix these things. It's like when you cook at home and you bring all the recipes together and you will have a unique dish. You can have all these things out on the shelves in the supermarket. How you mix them together, it will bring your unique dish. So it's the same thing here. I don't know why I bring the example of food, maybe it's lunchtime. So, but it's the uniqueness of mixing these things and being able always to continue this learning and never stop or depend on one. The time I say that I'm going on to depend on my lecturers in the university and to what I listen, that means I'm minimizing my learning skills. If I'm only limiting it to what I read in books, also I'm minimizing, because I'm not only reading. It's about getting everything and mixing them together so I can be like one of these people who left legacy and they brought it in the world. So one of the things that you need to have a holistic mindset. No matter what is my specialty today. Today my background is social work, I'm a sociologist, but I don't mind, I work with economists, I work with people who work in management people, I work with people working in law. No matter what are the work is, work in holistic. If you don't, I mean, whatever I learn is the basic techniques for me. But always look in holistic view of the things, because the time that you are going to minimize yourself for one specialty, you are very limited. The more you open and you build, okay, you have these fundamental things, what you are learning of. Here, the holistic view is going to be your added value, and you are going to be able to open your mind for the lifelong learning concept. So you need to know the sources of inspiration in you. This is one of the most important things. You need to know what is inspiring you as a person, what is the inspiring things for this environment that you're working in, and from here you can add and build on it. So for here, when you talk about source of inspiration, each one of you also to be a lifelong learner, you need to know before you leave your legacy, what is your goal and the legacy you want to leave. So you need to know what is your big picture that you are talking about. What do you want to leave in this life? That's what's going to facilitate your journey, because you are going to build all your learning about achieving this goal that you built for it and the big picture you want. And this is going to be one of the sources of inspiration to reach there and that stage of it. So, and the more we grow, the picture goes bigger, but it should be always toward the things that you wanted. You never want your goal to be to copy someone else's life, to be a teacher. When we were a child in the schools, we wanted to be a teacher exactly like our teacher. But now when I grow up, okay, although I'm a teacher academic at the university, I know that my dream is much bigger than this. I want to have a bigger goal. I just don't want to go and be a teacher in the way I saw my teachers doing. I know that there are lots of bigger things. If it's really my ambition wants to go and teach others and build a new generation, that's the goal I want to leave. It's not about being a teacher. So even if it's the same job I'm doing, but how I put it in a different frame and picture, that's going to inspire me to do the work. It's about I want to create different generations. So here the missions I want to do is going to give me this ambition of thinking about being a lifelong learner. And you need to know the relevance knowledge, you need to have different experiences, and to make lots of efforts. I think you want to add something here?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
خلاص, okay, I'll take over.
You can.
Okay, I think enough for theory. You are interested to see how we are working in our classes. So I will just go directly to, for the sake of time, we can continue on about what is lifelong learning and practice and so on. But I want to go directly now to show you how I design my courses, one of my courses. Okay, so this is an example of course design for master students for change management. We have I teach change management, innovation, entrepreneurship, and knowledge economy in our University of Bahrain. So this is a real one that I put it for the department of the MBA department in our college, so that they start to do the same courses there. So of course, that most of you know that we have to have a file which is according to QA, quality assurance, program for education. These are the main requirements. Of course, syllabus, teaching style, and then samples. Teaching style, I added that. It's not a requirement, but I added that. Then sample of students shared notes. Again, I added that. Homework type and samples is a requirement. Midterm, midterm exam or midterm project, which is I don't have midterm exam. I replaced it with the project. The more we can shift, our purpose of lifelong learning, ladies and gentlemen, is to shift students not to be dependent on the systems. They're supposed to be independent in their own mindset, so they have to be open-minded. And the more we create for them learning by doing, projects and so on, the better. The more we have them only for exams and quizzes, then they'll be always busy with the exams and quizzes only. Even when we do class quiz is only to prepare them for what I call it mock-up for the final exam, because not a lot of people used to have open book exam. And then the review about the final exam and how we do the model answers and so on, and then a sample of student compliments on the course. This is very important because this is part of showing lifelong learning, even practice, from me as a teacher to my colleagues. Because I know that I will leave the university one day, I have to show them what I have achieved so far so that they can build on it, instead of just having my own notes for me and so on. So the course design is around this. So you'll see, for example, this is how we design the course. What is the course, the title, the textbooks we are using, the way we're gonna grade. We have what we call silos and bylaws. I'm not sure if you taught here the same thing. Course intended learning outcome. Okay, and we have bylaws, means program intended learning outcome. So we have a course, and then it's relevant to the total program of the MBA, for example. And this is very important because we have to show is that whatever we are doing is we're trying to achieve the intended learning program at the end of the day. And then how we're gonna grade our students, what is the 100% mark made of? Okay, and then who will lecture? For example, who will lecture this lecture? So we don't lecture in our classes, and this is maybe what was Dr. Dunya was saying about when she asked you. Or our classes, you can see these are divided by dates. And we just sit down as a teachers at the end of the class and we listen to the students. They will prepare the class, they will prepare the lecture, either from the textbook or from the reference material, the slides we give them. From them we learn a lot. And one of the purpose, we tell them always at the beginning of the semester, we tell them, you need to inspire us. We need to learn from you. And this is the main target of the student. They want to inspire us through a new learning. So they use lots of external material so that they can really bring new information to their students. And you can see how much the students are learning by this, because they really use different techniques to teach. They will not use the normal style of teaching. They will use games, they will use different, and maybe Dr. Dunya will show you some of these photos later also. If you go to our social media, you'll find lots of these things. We upload lots of these in social media to encourage our colleagues around the world to do the same. And this is the silos and bylaws. We have to say, for example, this is about change. So, for example, see here, critically understand the necessity and nature of change in organization. And then and then all of these mostly is about what? To create from him a lifelong learner in change management. So I don't want a student to know only about change management. You have to do a project about change management. You have to do something about his life, to change his life, or to change his community, or to change his organization. And this is the 70% of the course evaluation will be about he's doing something about it, not knowing about change management. So it's not enough today to create students to know about something, but he is supposed to do a project relevant to that. Yeah. So these are, then again, the books usually are only reference books. We don't require students to buy the books. We tell them these are reference books if you want to buy them. Mostly we depend on slides. And then we depend on the grading by having lots of quizzes. They do it. The students, they create the quizzes and they do it in the class because they are teaching in the class. As I said, it's a flipped class technique. So we have in our classes usually structured learning. This by the actual slides from the course design. Okay, structured learning, which is the students they deliver, and then unstructured, which means facilitated and by discussion and deep dialogue, and then accelerated learning that the students will go and they will do visits together with us to other organizations and so on. And usually we have a model. For example, in this class, this is the model we wanted to learn and discuss about. At least I want the students to remember one thing about each class. One model, one formula, so that it will stay among their life. They can judge, they can make lots of judgments on life based on this model. And this model, for example, this class is about cycle of change, which is again known for lots of people. And now when people are really in fear and anxiety, when people resist change, when people accept change and so on. So the students will be always discussing the case studies, their exams, their lectures around this issue. And then I will ask them about different things. Like for example, see, this is one of the things. For example, we are asking them to write wisdoms of change management. Okay, what are the wisdoms? What they have learned through history and so on. And these are examples of how they will create, for example, communication model relevant to change management and so on. So these are examples of students how they develop the material relevant to that. And then the performance appraisal, and this is very important. I wanted to show you this, even though we're running out of time. Is that it's very important that the students they know. For example, the students by the way has pulled out for us. It's getting red, but most of the students are as you can see, they are getting green. Okay, green means that they are not only they are A students, but they are doing practices relevant to lifelong learning. My goal is to create from them more green students. Green means they are started to do something relevant to lifelong learning, either lecturing or going to visits or talking about their life experiences, like our colleague was saying that he works, for example, part-time, and this is linked. By the way, this helps us to create better students if students they work and learn during their lifetime. Okay, and so on. So this is an example of the way I grade. And then we have one coordinator for each class. Always this coordinator, he will manage the class totally. The lectures, the time, even sometimes if we are late, we're busy with many meetings and so on, he will run the class. And he will run the class to manage the class. So there will be someone teaching, and he's the coordinator, and make sure that the people who's teaching that day, they are available in the class. And there will be someone who always assigned to take the class notes. So the class notes, every class will be taken by someone. Even though each student like to take his own notes, There is an official class note that they will share in WhatsApp or in social media or through email and so on. So again, this is a style that it make them really, and I will check this class note to make sure it is, because mostly we are following unstructured teaching. We are not following only slides. We'll make discussion more than just, they will not memorize. The exam will not come from the slides. The open book exam usually come from the notes or from the discussion to make sure that people are really becoming lifelong learners and so on. So this is an example of, again, teaching style that we follow. These are class notes. This is an example of class notes we follow from that class of that year. Okay. So it's going slow. There is other issue that is maybe interesting. I thought I want to show it to you, which is again the homework type and samples. Again, all the students, they will share their homework again in a site that we put it, they upload it in the site and share it together. And this is an example of homework samples that they have done, and they shared it together in that website. Okay. I think there is 15 minutes, so I think you can talk about your experience.
وين سلايداتي؟ حطهم مثل ما هم.
يلا.
Okay. I'll talk to you about how do I do my classes. It's more or less it's the same type of it. When I do my classes, there is always someone who's coordinator. I do teach in the university, but I do work somewhere else, so most probably sometimes I get stuck in traffic or something. My classes, whether I'm there or not there, my students used to run the classes because there's someone who coordinated. And from the first day, we put the timetable, and each lecture, each topic, it's a responsibility for a person or a group to come and present and talk about it. So this is one of the main things. That's making that all the students are sharing the responsibility. They have to prepare for the class. Where I go and sit, it's always at the end of the class whenever I arrive. So that's making me learning as much. I'm learning from them more than that they learn from me, but I just come in and trap them when they want. The second method and model I use when I teach my students as well, I try to bring for them a lot of speakers from outside the class who are practitioners, because it's no matter you learn from us as an academic, you learn a lot, but when you go in the practical life, it's different. And also when I go and I take them to visits. So, and I take them a lot to field visits, especially for what I'm teaching them social work, and even when I teach sociology, even if it's not related, you are not going to learn it by books. So each and every topic we talk about need to be related to an organization that we either go and visit physically if we have it in Bahrain, or even if it's, for example, when we talk about organization of how they work in Google and how the human resources are going to be managed there, we can bring lots of videos there, and we are going to present it, and as we are going to live the life that they are there. And we are going to work by there. And one of the main things that after each and every visit, for example, one of the methods I use that each students have to write a report about this visit or the speaker or the conference we attended. I try always my best students. We have lots of conferences in Bahrain that I do have access for, and they don't allow students for. It's going to be mostly for policymaker, decision maker, and some service provider. But I always go and negotiate with some of the organizer to give me at least 5 to 10 chairs, and I allocate it for my interested students to go and attend these conferences. Of course, attending this for students is a lot because they are going to learn, build networks, they're going to have some certificates and other things. And whoever going to attend and visit and other things, all students have to write some reports about these visits. The report is not a normal report. They have to criticize it, say what they've learned from it, what they don't learn from it, how they think if they were in this post they can improve this place, how they criticize it. The important thing is it's not me who's going to read these reports. Normally there are 2 or 3 each team of the students who are going to collect all the students' reports and come and present it on behalf of all, and they are going to mark for all the students. So again, my students learn lots of different techniques because every time they read all others' reports, they learn from it, they do the marking, and they come. And when we come and give the presentations, we can give as much presentation as we can but in a short time. Because imagine if after each visit, each group wanted to give what they've learned from it, I'm going to stay, the whole semester there, just talking about one topic. But here we are trying to learn as much as possible as we can. So these are most of the practices that we do and give them a responsibility of it. And here when the students go and they talk about the topics in a different way. This is a video, but I didn't put the link because of the time. But it's when you give the students the power, they give and present things even much better than us. Because they try to be more creative here. Okay, I'm there to help them wherever the theory or the practice, if they needed the help before preparation or during of it. But most of it, they go and move places and they make fun and learning at the same time. And here always when I ask
This is an example about they are teaching, talk about the democracy, right?
Yes, in this class they were teaching about democracy and bureaucracy, and in sociology this topic is really very difficult and hard to teach. They've done it in a very practical way. They brought some food sticks and papers, and they put the layout of the chairs differently, and how we can sit if we were in a bureaucratical system, and how an organization of democratical system, and they let each of different students react differently, and then from there we've learned the theory, and then they've linked it of all what Socrates and others were saying about it, but in a different way than what I was saying. This gives them lots of benefits as students, not only as an experience, because at the
learning, teaching through lifelong learning, which is, we think is very important for you, since all of you are studying Buheji, right? Okay, so we are coming from an institute called the International Institute of Inspiration Economy. It was established in Slovenia just about 1.5 years ago, or actually in August only, last year. And maybe some of you maybe heard about us. We've been doing some work here with the University of Buheji, especially projects relevant to life projects, changing the society and socio-economic society. For example, we are doing some projects relevant to gambling, reducing the impact of gambling on youth, and other projects like relevant to reducing poverty in youth, with the Buheji University students and other students from high schools in Buheji. Lifelong learning is a very important topic because today it's a requirement for labor market. It's not only for your teaching, when you teach your students in the future, but it is very important in order to create a person who are persistent and inspired. And even if these people are going to stay in Bosnia, I hope, or migrate, unfortunately, we know that you are having lots of high migration, and it's one of our projects, by the way, with the University of Buheji, is to mitigate the impact of migration, because migration now is a lot, especially in the northern part of Bosnia, and we're trying to do some project to show that there is lots of opportunities in Bosnia. It's better even than Europe if you don't migrate. Anyway, let me start on this topic, and I hope that we have interactive session, especially that we are having only about 1 hour. We thought we have 1 hour 30 minutes, but we'll go for 1 hour for today, and then we'll try to stop and ask you some questions while we are doing that. So we hope it is not a lecture, it's more of an interactive session, I hope. Is my English okay clear for you? Okay. Yeah. So what is lifelong learning and what is its relation to inspiration economy? First, let me explain, as I said, what is inspiration economy. Because it is very important. You see, that is why we are calling something called a youth economy or inspiration economy. Today the world is going through instability, especially in capital, what's called capital economy. Especially the materialistic economy is not stable. And there is only one thing that is stable, which is the humans. And the humans, they have lots of intrinsic powers that not been utilized. And for that we started about 3 years ago a journal, a scientific academic journal, peer-reviewed journal, that's relevant to inspiration economy, which we had about 49 researchers from around the world, professors, who are collaborated to establish this journal, and it was established in my country, in Bahrain. From that we brought the Institute of Inspiration Economy. So it's about something, inspiration is about something that makes someone to do something, okay? And this is very important, is that when you are persistent to do something, then you are inspired. Inspiration is about an idea, and you want to create it, you want to find it, and you want to commercialize it, you want to make it a reality. So it is about ideas, not only ideas that come to us, but also putting it in a reality. And inspiration is about an influence that we want to inspire or influence our societies or our communities. So inspiration is about these issues, and for that, if we use this inspiration, not only for us, but to reflect it to our community, to our students, then we are creating what we call inspiration currency. It is like even more important than the petrodollar of my country. We are countries of petrol, as you know, or even more important than your nature, which is the beautiful nature here, which is worth even better than the oil or other resources. And for that, we say that if we manage during our teaching style to create something that triggers and excites the mind, the spirit, and the heart, then we are creating what we call inspiration economy. And this cannot be created unless we use tools which is called lifelong learning tools. Okay? These lifelong learning tools, we should design our courses. You know, we are designing the course based on the students' needs and wants. We don't give the students, always my students, they tell me at the end of the course, you didn't give us what we wanted. You've given us what we needed. And this is very important for teachers today. You don't address what the student wants, okay? But what the student needs. And student needs is much more than just giving exams. Actually, in our classes, me and Dr. Dunya, we don't use closed book exams. We use what we call open book exams. How many of you have gone through open book exam? Okay. So there is, okay. But as a student, you should demand, frankly, even in the university, to open this. Because today you don't need to memorize things, isn't it? What we need today is learning, teaching through lifelong learning, which is, we think is very important for you, since all of you are studying Buheji, right? Okay, so we are coming from an institute called International Institute of Inspiration Economy, which was established in Slovenia just about 1.5 years ago, or actually in August only, last year. And maybe some of you maybe heard about us. We've been doing some work here with University of Buheji, especially projects relevant to life projects, changing the society and socio-economic society. For example, we are doing some projects relevant to gambling, reducing the impact of gambling on youth, and other projects like relevant to reducing poverty in youth with the Buheji University students and other students from high schools in Buheji. Lifelong learning is a very important topic because today it's a requirement for labor market. It's not only for your teaching, when you teach your students in the future, but it is very important in order to create a person who are persistent and inspired. And even if these people are going to stay in Bosnia, I hope, or migrate, unfortunately, we know that you are having lots of high migration, and it's one of our projects, by the way, with the University of Buheji, is to mitigate the impact of migration. Because migration now is a lot, especially in the northern part of Bosnia, and we're trying to do some project to show that there is lots of opportunities in Bosnia. It's better even than Europe if you don't migrate. Anyway, let me start on this topic, and I hope that we have interactive session, especially that we are having only about 1 hour. We thought we have 1 hour 30 minutes, but we'll go for 1 hour for today. And then we'll try to stop and ask you some questions while we are doing that. So we hope it is not a lecture, it's more of an interactive session, I hope. Is my English okay clear for you? Okay. Yeah. So what is lifelong learning and what is its relation to inspiration economy? First, let me explain, as I said, what is inspiration economy. Because it is very important, you see that is why we are calling something called a youth economy or inspiration economy. Today the world is going through instability, especially in capital, what's called capital economy. Especially the materialistic economy is not stable. And there is only one thing that is stable, which is the humans. And the humans, they have lots of intrinsic powers that not being utilized. And for that, we started about 3 years ago a journal, a scientific academic journal, peer-reviewed journal, that's relevant to inspiration economy, which we had about 49 researchers from around the world, professors, who are collaborated to establish this journal, and it was established in my country, in Bahrain. From that, we brought the Institute of Inspiration Economy. So it's about something, inspiration is about something that makes someone to do something, okay? And this is very important, is that when you are persistent to do something, then you are inspired. Inspiration is about an idea, and you want to create it, you want to find it, and you want to commercialize it, you want to make it a reality. So it is about ideas, not only ideas that come to us, but also putting it in a reality. And inspiration is about an influence that we want to inspire or influence our societies or our communities. So inspiration is about these issues, and for that, if we use this inspiration, not only for us, but to reflect it to our community, to our students, then we are creating what we call inspiration currency. It is like even more important than the petrodollar of my country. We are countries of petrol, as you know, or even more important than your nature, which is the beautiful nature here, which is worth even better than the oil or other resources. And for that we say that if we manage during our teaching style to create something that triggers and excites the mind, the spirit, and the heart, then we are creating what we call inspiration economy. And this cannot be created unless we use tools, which is called lifelong learning tools. Okay? These lifelong learning tools, we should design our courses. You know, we are designing the course based on the students' needs and wants. We don't give the students, always my students, they tell me at the end of the course, you didn't give us what we wanted. You've given us what we needed. And this is very important for teachers today. You don't address what the student wants, okay? But what the student needs. And student needs is much more than just giving exams. Actually, in our classes, me and Dr. Dunya, we don't use closed book exam. We use what we call open book exams. How many of you have gone through open book exam? Okay. So there is, okay. But as a student, you should demand, frankly, even in the university, to open this. Because today you don't need to memorize things, isn't it? What we need to do.
At the end of the day, normally students, although we try not to give them exams, but some of the final exams, because I share some of my lectures with others we have, normally they say that the lectures that they gave or they have lengthy visits, it was much easier for them because they practice it, they've never memorized it in closed minds and box. They never tried to think of it. So they were more aware of it. They tried to link it to the real life because we've been there with the visits. It's not the classes, I don't give my classes by books. I tell them the books you have it, you can go and read it by your own. I mean, when you are teaching in a university, you don't need now more to come and read for students the books or just to discuss what's in the box is there. So this gives them lots of benefits out of there. One of the other things that here it's example of the visits, and normally what my students also like, because after we do these lecture and visits, we always try to publish this in our media. So they can see their pictures in the newspapers. Sometimes it's even covered by TV. I have it in my personal social media. So all this gives them that for students' life, they think that this is also making them more satisfied, that they were standing there, they have pictures of different others, and this will help them in giving networks and applying things. This is an example of the multi-blended approach that we use here. These are my students' classes. Whenever the weather is nice, I tell them we are not going to have the lecture inside the lecture. We go outside in the stairs, no matter where it is, but in any open areas. You have a much nicer weather than us, but for us, because it's very rare, we try to use it to the maximum. So I try to take them outside of the classrooms, and here where I mix my students here with Dr. Muhammad's students. Her students studying management, my students are studying sociology. So you can see that they are different from each other, but at the same time, tomorrow when we are going to work, we know that things are mixed together. So here when we teach and they learn from each other, even not only from us, because they are going to mix this blended theory, how the management and market is linked to the sociology, how sociology is affecting the management work. Here when we try to bring this blended approach and we mix them with other students, and here that make them really encouraged to learn more, know each other more, build networking. For example, here where Dr. Muhammad's students, master students, and what I bring my bachelor students from sociology, and I give them the opportunity to evaluate the master students. This gives them a lot of responsibility and make them even to read more about the topic because they were responsible that they are going to mark other students. And this all let them more confidence about themselves and make them more lifelong learners and able to read and to do more about it. So here's some of the examples of how I used to teach.
Okay, I think we are approximately, we try to be on time as we promised then. So I just want from you, before we go, just 3 keywords that you learned today and you think it's a new thing or something that is maybe became more important to you based on our lecture today. 3 keywords or 3 words that you learned today and you're gonna carry on searching about it or try to maybe read about it more as a teacher, as a future teacher. All of you most probably will be teachers, right? Am I right? Yeah. So what things that maybe new that you learn, and if you have any questions, please welcome because we have 7 minutes to go to keep our promise to have only 1 hour lecture. So just I want from you each one three words in a few minutes. Okay, 3 words that you learned today. Okay, we'll just take 2 minutes to see that. Write it down for us, and we want to discuss with you based on it. And if you have any question, you are welcome also to ask. We have cut short our lecture. We have lots of examples to show you, but this is just to say, make sure that you are interested. If you are interested, we can continue to do lectures in coordination with the university in the future as well. Okay, so can I hear from anyone? Have you learned anything today new? Something new that you will carry, even 1 word. Anything new?
Oh, I didn't know that open books and closed books examination is called like that. It took me a minute to understand the concept of it.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Okay. Yeah, the open book is that it's based on lifelong learning. It's not about this is supposed to be something that is you don't need material for. Material only to help you to understand and not to memorize also. So that's yeah. Okay. Anything else? Something you learn from teaching style or from lifelong learning that you think is worth to search for? Anyone? Nothing from the first row? Nothing? Everything you know? You knew that before? All these informations?
No.
Do you know how? Did you know about the relation between inspiration and the lifelong learning? Or something is new for you in that area? Every inspired person, like Dr. Dunya was talking about Mandela, Gandhi, Ali Izzat Buheji, all of these people who created change in their own societies with challenges, they are considered to be lifelong learners. Okay, Muhammad Ali Clay, you name it, Obama, whoever. I'm not going to say Trump, but I will say Hillary, for example. It's lifelong learners because they have changed. They are trying to change their society. Whatever you look at them, they are maybe bad, good, whatever. But whoever managed to create, they are lifelong learners because they are creating inspiration waves later in the economy and in the sociology societies also. Okay. Anything you learned today? Okay. Any questions? No questions?
Well, I would like to comment on
Yes,
on this concept of teaching. I partially agree, but mostly I disagree with the way the class goes, especially with her idea. Because I don't like when students give me lectures, because I don't think that most of our teachers are competent to actually do critical thinking. That's why they give us questions like, give me this and give me that information. Some of the teachers do, like, you're required to read a book, and then they ask a question that you've never actually heard of. The answer is not in the book. This is the first time you have to give a conclusion about it. And that's a good teacher who can actually give his own critical thinking. Is that a good answer that you have? But usually when students give lectures, I don't learn anything, and I don't feel like I can ask.
Learning, teaching through lifelong learning, which is we think is very important for you, since all of you are studying Buheji, right? Okay, so we are coming from an institute called International Institute of Inspiration Economy. It was established in Slovenia just about 1.5 years ago, or actually in August only, last year. And maybe some of you maybe heard about us. We've been doing some work here with the University of Buheji, especially projects relevant to life projects, changing the society and socio-economic society. For example, we are doing some projects relevant to gambling, reducing the impact of gambling on youth, and other projects like relevant to reducing poverty in youth with the Buheji University students and other students from high schools in Buheji. Lifelong learning is a very important topic because today it's a requirement for labor market. It's not only for your teaching, when you teach your students in the future, but it is very important in order to create a person who are persistent and inspired. And even if these people are going to stay in Bosnia, I hope, or migrate, unfortunately, we know that you are having lots of high migration, and it's one of our projects, by the way, with the University of Buheji, is to mitigate the impact of migration. Because migration now is a lot, especially in the northern part of Bosnia. And we're trying to do some project to show that there is lots of opportunities in Bosnia. It's better even than Europe if you don't migrate. Anyway, let me start on this topic, and I hope that we have interactive session, especially that we are having only about 1 hour. We thought we have 1 hour 30 minutes, but we'll go for 1 hour for today. And then we'll try to stop and ask you some questions while we are doing that. So we hope it is not a lecture, it's more of an interactive session, I hope. Is my English okay clear for you? Okay. So what is lifelong learning and what is its relation to inspiration economy? First, let me explain, as I said, what is inspiration economy. Because it is very important, you see that is why we are calling something called a youth economy or inspiration economy. Today the world is going through instability, especially in capital, what's called capital economy. Especially the materialistic economy is not stable. And there is only one thing that is stable, which is the humans. And the humans, they have lots of intrinsic powers that not been utilized. And for that, we started about 3 years ago a journal, a scientific academic journal, peer-reviewed journal, that's relevant to inspiration economy, which we had about 49 researchers from around the world, professors, who are collaborated to establish this journal, and it was established in my country, in Bahrain. From that, we brought the Institute of Inspiration Economy. So it's about something, inspiration is about something that makes someone to do something, okay? And this is very important, is that when you are persistent to do something, then you are inspired. Inspiration is about an idea, and you want to create it, you want to find it, and you want to commercialize it, you want to make it a reality. So it is about ideas, not only ideas that come to us, but also putting it in a reality. And inspiration is about an influence that we want to inspire or influence our societies or our communities. So inspiration is about these issues, and for that, if we use this inspiration, not only for us, but to reflect it to our community, to our students, then we are creating what we call inspiration currency. It is like even more important than the petrodollar of my country. We are countries of petrol, as you know, or even more important than your nature, which is the beautiful nature here, which is worth even better than the oil or other resources. And for that we say that if we manage during our teaching style to create something that triggers and excites the mind, the spirit, and the heart, then we are creating what we call inspiration economy. And this cannot be created unless we use tools, which is called lifelong learning tools. Okay? These lifelong learning tools, we should design our courses. You know, we are designing the course based on the students' needs and wants. We don't give the students, always my students, they tell me at the end of the course, you didn't give us what we wanted. You've given us what we needed, and this is very important for teachers today. You don't address what the student wants, okay? But what the student needs. And student needs is much more than just giving exams. Actually, in our classes, me and Dr. Dunya, we don't use closed book exams. We use what we call open book exams. How many of you have gone through open book exam? Okay. So there is, okay. But as a student, you should demand, frankly, even in the university, to open this. Because today you don't need to memorize things, isn't it? What we need to do
Are there. It's like, but students can do that. And that's why I don't think that students are really,
competent.
competent to give class.
But I agree with you that you're saying that you need to be competent to give your students more freedom to, right? Again, and the more the teacher is competent and they are having lifelong learning. For example, for us, we are consultants, so we see life more than we are not only academics. So we want to transfer for them our knowledge. If we give them only the normal knowledge, which they are supposed to know, they will not learn. What we do, we make them, they study the normal knowledge and they present it. And we comment or we discuss or we make a dialogue actually on something that they don't see or that relevant to that knowledge. Okay. So this is why I maybe we agree on that area.
But this seminar is more, for me, should be for teachers, not for us.
Yeah.
Because they have to be the ones who are able to understand this way of, and it's like now they have one idea of how to teach, and it's not easy just to go and change it. So I think this is more for them than for us. We can easily adapt once they decide to.
Yeah, but you're going to be a teacher in the future. It's your, and what we are saying today, humans, they are not like to be controlled. If you want to change me, you have to really convince me. And one of the ways, you have to use lots of ways to convince me. One of it is maybe taking projects and so on, or making me, teaching is learning. Teaching is learning. When I teach, I learn. So if you want me to change, you make me teach. The more I teach, the more I learn. The more I change my attitude and behavior. And this is the idea that you are coming from. But I respect your point. Sir, you wanted to say something?
No. I'm thinking about, you talked about our society here. And you said that we need to stay here and change something. The problem is when we are on the level that we cannot learn here anymore, and most of young people wants to go in other countries to learn, not for better life, money or something.
Learn and come back.
It's so sad.
Yeah, I agree. This is. I didn't mean that. I mean migrating in human way.
That's my.
Agreed. I agree, and I apologize if you understood that. We encourage everyone to go and see all the world. The more you travel, the more you'll learn and so on. I agree with you on that.
I have my company and we are working together, and now we are on that level of business that we cannot grow here anymore. We need to go out.
Yes.
The last 7 years we practice this way of learning.
Okay.
But it's so sad that I see only him. He's a professor in this university. I see only him. I don't see other professor. And when I study, I have a feeling that everyone tried to build a wall about my right hemisphere, and I don't feel confidence in this education system.
Excellent. And this is very, very important. What our friend has mentioned. You know that you are talking about the two hemispheres of the brain, right? And it's very important that we are studying humanities besides studying science. For example, because the more we see the world and we interact or work during our vacations and so on, the more we'll be a lifelong learners. I will visit what Dr. Dunya was talking about holistic brain. Ibn Sina, Ibn Khaldun, you name it. These people who change the world. Muhammad Ali Clay, even he's a fighter, but at the same time he's a thinker. And those people, because they had studied science, besides studying or learning about science, besides learning about humanities. This is what creates the big picture. We encourage people to go abroad, sir, But what is I was trying to say is that lots of people, unfortunately, today they migrate one way and they don't come back. That's what is the worrying here.
We don't have problems with inspiration.
Yes.
Everything inspires us.
True.
Because we are, I'm a professional photographer and we are making some documentaries and everything here inspires us. And we think that this hard life in Bosnia and war and other things learn us how to be creative,
True.
to make something about nothing.
Excellent.
Yeah, about
Yeah.
nothing. From nothing.
We say that inspiration comes from challenges,
Yeah.
failures, and also repetition. We say these are the main three things, not only from success. Success is known to make some inspiration. But the reality that most of the people who inspire, or you want to create your students to inspire, you have to accept challenges, you have to accept failures, and the repetition. Repetition, if you repeat things with learning every time, and you improve, it means you are inspired. And Bosnia is full of sources of inspiration. For that, we started our first project outside the Arab world. We came to Bosnia because we believe that Bosnia have lots of sources of inspiration that can help youth to become stronger, inshallah, in Bosnia.
Here in Bosnia, when kids are small, their parents learn them they must go on the university and learn to work in government institution, so they will not have challenges in life because everything is in order.
Right.
So that's the problem here because everybody's studying because they want to have good life, not challenges. Not
And
learning.
this is what is the role of the teacher. See, what you were saying here, this is very important role of teachers. You don't teach analogical thinking only. Science is only analogical thinking. But if you teach, logical thinking. But you should teach analogical thinking, which means they can compare things. They can learn from something and implement it in different area. And you teach critical thinking. And you teach, and what we do, by the way, our business, frankly, we don't say that always because people are afraid from this word, disruptive thinking. We want to disrupt sometimes the logical thinking because people are so much they are becoming, close-minded that only they see whatever they learned. They are not trying to go to the uncomfort zone. And disruptive thinking is about what? Taking you to the uncomfort zone so that you discover more about yourself. And this might be the purpose why we are teaching in University of Buheji and Sarajevo and other universities in Europe because we want to create this wave that youth have lots of ability to see different things than what is they are now contained within. And you can see most of the civilized cultures, youth are really, they bring lots of innovative ideas because they see the blind spots that others they cannot see. Okay. Anything else? Okay, I would like to thank you. My name is Dr. Dunya for giving us this chance. Thank you for Prof. Aldin for arranging this lecture. We hope for you all the best and we hope to see you inshallah in future lectures. Thank you very much. Thanks.